Hello, my name is Barbara Leland, and I'm a certified holistic health coach in Huntington Beach, and I do the healthy eating classes here at Hoag Cancer Center. And today we're going to be continuing with our discussion from last week about immunity and how we can build up our immunity with food and sleep and exercise and other items, as we talked about last week. And what we're doing today is we're going to make a dish that not only is delicious, but also builds up your immunity without even trying. Okay, and we're doing things a little bit differently today. I'm not doing a PowerPoint. You're not going to see the slides because I wanted to make sure we had enough time to do the recipe. I've been running over a little bit lately, and I don't want to talk so fast. Okay, so let's start making the butternut squash and mushroom tacos, and then we'll continue on with our discussion. So what we're doing with the butternut squash and mushroom tacos is we're using something that gives us beta-carotene, which, if you remember, the beta-carotene converts into A, and the A builds up helps the red blood cells carry pathogens and invaders to the immune cells, okay? And I want to remind you that if any of this is not familiar, if you forgot to watch last week or didn't have a chance, you can go onto my website and www.2life-2health.com and go to videos, and all the videos are listed there. You can also go onto the Hoag channel and search for it. But if you want to just see the video from last week, it's right there. Okay, so the butternut squash with the beta-carotene and the vitamin A is going to go into your baking dish, okay? And this is organic, and you want organic, butternut squash has a thick skin, so you would think, well, why am I getting organic? You want organic because they are pesticided, and the pesticides do come into the squash. It's, I think, numbers, if you look at the Dirty Dozen listing that we've talked about before on EWG, you're not going to see it on the Dirty Dozen. But I think it's about number 15 or 16. So if it's that close to the Dirty Dozen, I try to stay on the organic as well. Okay, so we're putting the butternut squash into our baking dish. And then these mushrooms that I got, also organic, put them in the sun ahead of time, right? 20 to 30 minutes ahead of time. And they are going to, not 20 to 30 minutes ahead of time, but 20 to 30 minutes in the sun. They're going to absorb the vitamin D. They're going to make the vitamin D from the sun, and it will be in the mushroom when you eat it. So that's pretty cool. It's like better than a pill. Okay? And so what we're going to do, these mushrooms are huge. So I think the recipe says halved, but what we're going to do is we're going to cut them into quarters because they're really pretty big. And these are the cremini mushrooms. If you get the shiitake mushrooms, the shiitake mushrooms will also absorb the sun, and they will convert the D into D3, which is better utilized by your body. These mushrooms make D2, which is also good, but you need more of D2 to get to the equivalent of the D3. Make sense? So if you remember last week, we talked about D3 being in a number of animal products, and you can get it directly from the sun, right? And also from shiitake mushrooms when they are placed in the sun. So that's kind of a nice little treat because shiitakes are delicious anyway. I just didn't happen to get them because these were what I found. And I was probably in a hurry, I don't know. And so I'm putting this, and when you're making this, you'll probably put it in a little bit larger one than this. I was trying to conserve space. So just chop up your mushrooms, and then you're going to start adding your other items. So you're going to add, this is avocado oil that we're using. And you see the color of it, how beautiful that color is. Now, why are we using avocado oil and not olive oil? The reason is because avocado oil is a high heat oil. It won't become toxic in high heat like olive oil will. So the avocado oil, we're cooking at 400. Anything over 350, you want to make sure that you have a high heat oil, okay? So we're using avocado oil, beautiful avocado oil. Avocados do not need to be organic, so that's a plus too, because the organic avocado oil is very expensive, and you can use non-organic avocado oil. It's better, anything you do, it's better to use organic, but sometimes we, are looking to save a dime. So that's 2 tablespoons of avocado oil, and then we're going to put in, I've got the spices already mixed up, and I'm using, you see here we have chipotle powder, and the chipotle powder I get from Savory, which you only can get online now, which is too bad. And I'm putting cumin. That's not it. That's not it. That is it. Cumin, everything's organic. And we're putting smoked paprika, which gives it a nice smoky taste. Not too much spice, but a little bit of sweetness from the paprika, right? Not too much spice. We're putting turmeric. And because we're putting turmeric, and we're putting salt, of course, and because we're putting turmeric, we want to make sure we include pepper. Because remember, when we're putting turmeric, we want to get the benefits of the anti-inflammatory properties of the turmeric. So to do that, the pepper helps your body absorb the properties, and the oil also. The fat and the pepper work together with the turmeric. Okay? Now all my spices are already in this little jar. So I'm just going to sprinkle them. And this is going to give you a nice, you could put a little less salt if you like. It does give it a little bit of, it is a little salty and a little spicy and a little sweet, but I like it that way. But if you would like less salt, by all means, and if you would like less spice, by all means. Sometimes you can't take spice. So what I'm doing now is I'm just going to mix in the oil, the spices. I tried doing this, by the way, also I squeezed in some lime juice. I'm not doing that today. I found that it made it a little bit tangier than I would have liked, and it wasn't really necessary. You're going to get a lot of juiciness from the mushrooms when they roast. So we're going to just mix up all those spices with the oil. And then in the meantime, our oven is preheating to 400, right? Once that oven preheats, we're going to put these in the oven, and we're going to roast them. We're going to roast them for about 20 minutes. It says 20 to 25. I usually do it for 20 minutes because what I do is I'm still preparing everything else after the 20 minutes is up, maybe. Or I'm, the table or whatever. But that way I can if I do it at 20 minutes, I can just leave it on keep warm, and I'm not worried about it getting overcooked or anything. All right? So 20 minutes in the oven. In the meantime, while that's cooking, we're going to make the cilantro dressing. So what we're doing with the cilantro dressing is we're doing a cashew base. So I think you've seen, if you've been with me before, you've seen me do a vegan creamy dressing using cashews. If you can't use cashews, you can also, if you can't do nuts, you can also do it with a sunflower seed. Also, you can do this same dressing with yogurt. So, especially for my friends that have GERD, I want you to think about that. You can do this instead of the cashews. Now, I know you can have cashews, but instead of the cashews, you put in yogurt. That will give it a tanginess that you can leave out the lime juice. Okay, and of course you're not going to put in the garlic, but you could put in, let's see, if you have GERD, you can put in the asafoetida spice that we've talked about before, that kind of similar to a garlic and onion taste, okay? And then just add some water to this because you're going to leave out the juice of half a lime, and that's about, I think that's about a fourth of a cup of water. Maybe not. Maybe a couple tablespoons of water. Okay, extra. All right. So, but today we're doing it with cashews and garlic. So we're going to put the cashews in there. These have been soaked overnight, and so they're going to be nice and soft. We're going to put in 1 clove of garlic. Originally my recipe was 2 cloves. I've gone back and changed the whole thing on my website and everything because it was a little bit too much, actually. All you tasted was garlic. So we're putting in 1 clove of garlic. We're putting in the whole bunch of cilantro, just like that. It's a half a bunch. But when I say whole, I mean I'm not taking the stems off. I'm leaving that on. Okay, so it's very easy. You just smash them in there. Okay, and I've already cut off I washed these this morning and cut off the ends, etc. And our spices that we're using, again, we're using salt. And you can use it or not use it, depending on what you like. I've put in about 1/8 teaspoon of chipotle. I love chipotle. That is my go-to chili powder. And you can go up to 1/4 teaspoon. I went a little light here, just in case. I'm not sure about people's taste. So cumin, so if you're cooking for people you don't know, go a little light on the chipotle. But if you're doing it for yourself and you like it spicy, go for it. Okay, so the cumin, the chipotle, salt, and we're putting that in the blender. And then this is all of the liquids. I've got the water in here, the apple cider vinegar, the lime, and the olive oil. Did I say that already? And the olive oil. So like I said, if you're doing it with the yogurt and leaving out the lime, you're going to want more liquid in there. Don't know if you can do the apple cider vinegar or not. If you can't, put in something a little acidic that you can do. Okay, so now we're going to have a little bit of noise, and they're going to hopefully cancel it for me while we grind up our dressing. Okay? I see 2 cashews up here that didn't want to go down there. Okay, so now look at the color on this dressing. It's beautiful, isn't it? And I'm going to show you, I'm going to open it right now and show you how really beautiful it is. And the smell is wonderful. You know, you've got all that fresh cilantro, not so much garlic. Okay? And you can see the consistency of it is pourable. All right, so we're going to set that aside because that's our dressing for our salad, for our tacos. And we're going to come back to our roasting. So 20 minutes have gone by, and now our vegetables are done. So we're going to get rid of this. We don't need this anymore. And we're going to, first of all, while we're getting our tacos ready, we're going to prepare the kale. So I say 3 leaves. These were big. This one was small, but these were big. But I'm still going to do 3, and we'll see how it goes. So I just tear them off the stem. And don't throw your stems away. Save them, and you can put them in a soup. You can put them in a smoothie. Don't waste them because they've got lots of nutrients also. Okay? I am big at using all of the food, all of the product that we're cooking with, rather than throwing things away. And why not? And also what you could do when you have vegetable scraps, I think we've talked about this before, when you have vegetable scraps, you can put them all into a pot of water, big pot of water, pan of water, and simmer them. I would, bring them up to a boil, turn it down, simmer them 2 hours, and you'll have a beautiful vegetable broth, homemade. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're just going to shred up the kale. And how I do that is I just use a scissors, because I'm basically lazy and I'd rather do a scissors than getting out the cutting board and the knife. Okay, so we're just doing it in little strips, kind of like what you would do with basil if you were doing a basil. Just strips of kale, smash them together and then just cut them. You can do it, of course, with your cutting board and your knife. Truth be told, my knives are not that sharp, so I have to take care of that. So scissors works better for this today. And you don't want the stems because the stems are just too hard. But they are great for other things, so do save them and put them in your whatever, your smoothies, your stews, your soups, whatever you're making. Maybe stir fry, I don't know. I think they might not work for stir fry. All right, so now we just have shreds of kale that we're going to use for a topping on our tacos. And this is a really easy recipe. You can do the dressing ahead of time, which I often do. I just have it in the fridge. And then when you're ready, you could even roast your vegetables ahead of time and then just put them on, keep warm when you're ready to, about an hour before you're ready to eat. Just put them on keep warm and they'll be nice and hot when you're ready to assemble your tacos. So it's an easy recipe. And what I did with the tortillas, I want to talk to you a little bit about the tortillas. These are the tortillas I'm using, and you'll say, hey, why aren't they organic? Because I couldn't find organic that didn't have anything else in them that I didn't want. Sometimes I can, depends. I was at Sprouts. The only organic ones I could find were with guar gum, and I didn't want to have guar gum. So these are not organic, however, they are non-GMO. So if you look at the back of the ingredients, which you won't be able to see this, I'm sure, but do check your products when you're buying something, especially if it's not organic. And this says non-GMO, and sometimes you'll get non-GMO certified, but just look for those words non-GMO, because corn, if it's not organic, most likely it's GMO. And you don't want GMO, right? It's inflammatory. You don't want that. So this is non-GMO. Corn is not high on the pesticide list, on the Dirty Dozen. So it's not because of the pesticides that we want organic. It's because of the GMO. Same with papaya, by the way. Okay, so this is the one I'm using. They're pretty good. They're nice and soft. Sometimes the organic, the really pure, these are really pure. It's just white corn. That's all that's in here, and water. But sometimes the really healthy tortillas are hard as a rock. These are nice and pliable. So I don't know, maybe you want to look for these at Sprouts. Anyway, here they are. Okay. So what I did this morning is I took these tortillas, 4 of them, and I wrapped them up in I just wrapped them a lot. I wrapped them up in a towel, and I got the towel a little wet, and they're not really hot anymore, but thought they would be. And then I put them in aluminum foil, and then I put them in the keep warm oven, just to make them more pliable, and they're pretty pliable, so that's pretty good. Okay, so that's what we're going to be using for our tortillas. And then, ding, the oven's ready. So we're going to take our vegetables out of the oven. And these are all wrapped up because I wanted them to stay warm, and they did. So now our vegetables are done cooking. And you can see how much liquid. We didn't need the lime. If we wanted to have liquid, we didn't need the lime. Can you see that? Okay. So you just give it a nice toss. And while it's cooking, you can toss it once. Just stir it once, and that should be sufficient, just to get all those nice mushroom juices and the oil on here. Okay, so we've got our tortillas, we've got our vegetables, we've got our kale. Let's do our avocado. So the avocado, this one's a little bigger than what I usually use. I use the mini ones from Trader Joe's usually, but this one will do. So we're gonna cut our avocado in nice, beautiful. I was worried about that. I'm like, what if I cut it open, it's all black? It happens. It happens. So now we're going to put a quarter of an avocado on each taco, but we're going to cut it into eighths. Oops. And on my recipe, I put down that you could use, you could also add sprouts, you could add pumpkin seeds, and we are going to, I actually got something that I liked better than sprouts, sprouts, and they are beet microgreens. So microgreens are, sprouts are great for you, but microgreens are great for you too. So the nutrients that are in the vegetable that it's being microgreened of, in this case beets, it has 4 to 6 times the amount of nutrients in the microgreens. So that's impressive. Of course, you're eating a lot less, right, microgreens. But it's just nice to know that you can, and especially, let's say you don't like greens so much. You can, I'm not saying to not eat greens, but if you want to add, because you, for whatever reason, you don't like kale, get the kale microgreens. Or for whatever reason, you don't like beet greens, then get the beet microgreens, etc. You see what I'm saying? They're a lot smaller, a lot easier to eat, they're more mild, and you're still going to get the benefits of the vegetable. Okay? So I think we're ready for assembling. Here are the microgreens that I got. They are not cheap microgreens, so you might consider growing your own. So a friend of mine had given me a little box. It's a box that has, I can't even describe it, but you send away for the growing material for the microgreens, and then you grow your own. It's pretty cool. Then you have your own microgreens. But did that work out to be less expensive? I'm not sure. But it was good. But it's nice and fresh, and you've got them right there. So look at how beautiful these are. So you're going to have lots of color on your tacos. All right, let's start assembling the tacos. So take a tortilla, which is now cold, and we're going to put the vegetables in the middle. And by the way, don't eat these on a first date. They are super messy. You're gonna have food falling out of your hands, not out of your mouth, hopefully, but out of your hands. Because I don't know about you, but I don't think a taco is a taco if it's not messy. Right? Who wants to eat a neat taco? So we're putting the vegetables in the middle. And I used about 2 cups, I did use 2 cups of squash and 8 ounces of mushrooms, and for some reason it's made a good bigger quantity than usual. I don't know why. And what you could also do if you have an air fryer, I did this the other night. I took my tortillas and I put a little, rubbed some oil on my hands and just rubbed a little tiny bit of oil on the tortillas. And then I molded them so that they hung down on the rack that goes into the toaster oven, the air fryer toaster oven. If you have a basket toaster oven, I don't think you can do this. But if you have a basket air fryer, I don't think you can do this. If you have a air fryer that's also a toaster oven, use the rack that you would toast on and drape your tortillas over the rack so that they are folded, and then hit air fry. And that came out pretty good. Like, a little bit of a taco shape, a little bit of a crispy taco taste. So that's what I tried. It came out pretty good. I don't think I'm going to fit any more on this. But I just want you to look at the bottom of this dish. All the spices and oil that make this so delicious, right? And that's also the juices from the mushrooms. I have found that roasting mushrooms creates a really delicious roasted vegetable dish. Okay, so now we're going to, what are we going to do next? We're going to put this, then we're going to put the kale. Where's my sous chef? Okay, the kale. Then I'm going to drizzle it with the dressing first. Then I'm going to put the avocado, just so we have some. And you'll have extra dressing, and it'll keep, 4 or 5 days in your fridge. Depends on how much you put, of course. If you want to put a lot, then you won't have any extra. But it's already looking beautiful, even without anything else so far. Isn't that pretty? Okay, now we're going to put the avocado. You want to do them sideways, right? Because we're going to fold these over. This guy could use a little bit more dressing. And you can see why they're kind of messy, right? They're big. They're big tacos. Who wants a little taco? Not me. Okay, beet microgreens. Sprinkled on top. They look so pretty. And then, so just a reminder of the ingredients that we're using. Everything that we're using here is geared towards your immunity and geared towards your health. So the kale, the garlic, the cilantro, all of those things are anti-inflammatory, giving you lots of nutrients and working on your immune system. The butternut squash, is the beta-carotene, converts with the vitamin A and builds up your red blood cells to take away the pathogens. The mushrooms give you the vitamin D from the sun, if you put them in the sun. If you don't put them in the sun, you're not going to get the vitamin D, so put them in the sun. And then vitamin D and also zinc. And if you remember, zinc is very important for our immunity too. And so are pumpkin seeds. Pumpkin seeds have zinc in them, among other things. And we're just going to sprinkle some pumpkin seeds on top. And you can change this up however you like. If you don't like avocado, leave the avocado off. If you don't like well, you can't do it if you don't like mushrooms and butternut squash. Okay, so now we're just going to fold, kind of. If you have a taco holder, that's great, but this is basically what you're going to have. And when you serve it, you're going to put things on their plate so that it holds the tacos up and folded. And then when they eat it, that's their problem, right? Once you've turned it over, okay. And there you have it. All right? So, tell me, do I have any questions? Yes, okay. And if you have more questions, please go ahead and put them in the chat. If you have questions after the seminar's over, and you're like, darn, I forgot, then go ahead and send me an email, and be happy to answer your questions. And last week there was a question about something in the dairy, and I found out what he was talking about was actually the carrageenan. He was talking about casein. He thought I had said casein, but no, what I was talking about was the carrageenan. You don't want carrageenan in your dairy products. So if you're getting yogurt, or if you're getting cottage cheese, or if you're getting anything like that, you don't want carrageenan. That's going to work against your immunity, okay? And it's inflammatory. How much protein does this have? This has not much protein in this. So if you want to up the protein, you know, the pumpkin seeds help a little bit. The mushrooms have some protein. We're combining it with grain, but there's not a lot of protein in this dish. So if you want to up the protein, and I did try doing this, I sprinkled some cheese on the tortillas and put them in the oven first, and then put the things on top. And you know, that would up the protein if you want to have cheese. But this is a vegan recipe we're working with here. Other things you could do, you could add some lentils. You add some lentils, you have the corn tortilla, makes a complete protein. Lentils would be very good in this. Really delicious. Lentils, butternut squash, kale, they all go really well together. Delicious. So that would up your protein. Can you use grapeseed oil in lieu of avocado oil? Yes, you can. Yes, you can use grapeseed oil. Grapeseed oil you want to have organic. So, because remember, grapes you want organic. So grapeseed oil, yes, you can use it. Totally fine. Make sure it's organic. Can I use frozen or organic? I knew someone was going to ask that, and I have no idea. I was going to try it with the frozen because I knew someone would ask that, because it's easy to, I found the frozen organic. Cutting up butternut squash might be hard on my wrist. Absolutely. Cutting up, okay, thank you for bringing that up. Cutting up butternut squash is hard. Very hard. So that's why you can buy it cut up fresh. It's hard to find it organic at Trader Joe's though. So you can get it organic at Sprouts. You can get it organic at, I believe, Costco. Costco had it last year organic, cut up. And you can get it, I think, at Whole Foods. I'm not 100% sure. But just check, and maybe some other regular stores too. I'm not sure. But you can get it, you know, it's already cubed. I don't know how I've never used frozen butternut squash, so I don't know the consistency. If it's soft, if it's, you know, if it changes, it might be fine. Try it. Try it. If that's what you have in your freezer, go ahead and try it. Let me think. Any other questions? You want to come have some tacos with me? So, yeah, they look beautiful, and I think that's it. Okay? So any other questions, please go ahead and visit me on my website. If you have questions about the ingredients and why are they good for us, please go and to my website, www.2life2health.com. And if you want to ask me a question, my email is 2life-2health@hotmail.com. And when you go on my website, you'll see a thing at the top. It says videos. Click on that, and that'll take you to all the videos that we've done. Okay? All right. Any other questions? I think that's it. And I will see you next month, and we're going to be talking about cholesterol. All right. See you then. Enjoy your tacos.